Good morning, folks. How are you this morning? Blessed and highly favored, right? Praise God. It's good to be here this morning and to be with Pastor John again, and Pastor John and Pastor Cyril. I've known Pastor Cyril for years, and I've always appreciated them and his ministry, and appreciate Angie's ministry of music. And the music team and worship team that you've got here in this church is absolutely awesome. I play music myself, and I play bass, play keyboards, but I'd like to be as good as this bass player. Man, you're good. I'm here to talk about the Gideons today, and to talk about the wonderful work that God is doing across the land. And let me tell you something. There's nothing as important as the Word of God. How many of you would attest to that? There's nothing as important as the Word of God. And there's a lot of tremendous programs across the world. They're unlimited. You know, and they're doing a tremendous work. And my son is quite involved in World Vision, doing a tremendous work. And all of these works are just amazing. And, you know, we got to support these things because I believe they're all part of God's plan. I sincerely do. When I looked at your bulletin this morning, I saw the fourth one down on the right-hand corner. It's enable, engage, encounter, and equip. And the responsibilities, of course, that Pastor Cyril and Pastor John are given with are, of course, quite awesome, and that is to equip. And how do we equip? We equip with the Word of God, and that's the only thing we can do it with. I'm going to take you on a short journey this morning, and hopefully, by the time I'm done, you will be a little bit more enlightened as to what we do. We're so appreciative of the fact that a year ago or so, that this church graciously joined on as a global church partner in Newfoundland to be a monthly partner for the Gideons. Today, there's 16 churches in Newfoundland that have been joined on as partners, and about roughly over 220 across Canada. So it's great, and as a result of that, we're seeing over $250,000 new money, usually new money, that's going for Bibles. And let me tell you something, that's exciting. Because you know something? The Bible is going into homes and families and into individual lives and are changing individual lives, are changing families, and are changing communities. Now, Ross just came back from Haiti. Ross is with us today. He's one of our Gideons. Ross is one of the younger ones. He's 82 years old, I think. So what I mean by younger wants to take a trip. He's not. He just took a trip to Haiti. And I think probably some of these trips are challenges for some young people like myself. But anyway, Ross went and I had a great time. But I just want to put it in perspective about what happened on that trip. I think it was 34,000 scriptures that were handed out. Ross, am I correct? 34,000, and they've got recorded that there were 5,200 people who made a commitment to Jesus Christ. Think about that. Pastor John, I did a quick calculation of what this church is doing. You know what that equates to based on that calculation? That means out of every $100 per month that you gave, 5 people accepted Jesus. Now, I say in churches, I might be able to say it there and get away with it. I hope I can. But I can look down over congregations and say that if we saw that many come into our church every month and give their life to Jesus, all of our church across this province would be filled. So let me tell you something, folks. Your money is not going astray. Your money is going to a tremendous work. The Bible says in the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was God. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:14 says, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory of the only begotten Father. That's when we saw Jesus. Jesus was the Word in the beginning, and everything in the written Word points to and points back, and it's about him. The Bible is the inspired Word of God according to 2 Peter 1:21, and contains Jesus and the message of the gospel from Genesis to Revelation. God's Word says, freely you have received. People try to work on their salvation, to try to get to heaven by doing the good works. Now, it's fine to do good works, but let me tell you something. The price has already been paid. Jesus died once and for all. And as a result of that, I have the confidence that if I drop dead there today, that I'm in the presence of God. I have that confidence. And isn't that wonderful? That's the and I'm not being arrogant about that. That's the Bible. But you know what the Word says? Pastor John sort of alluded to it this morning. Going to all the world and preach the gospel. Beginning at home and then on to the uttermost parts of the earth. Every time that you go to Tim Hortons, every time that you go on your job, every time you go out to the mall, you are going out and you are a witness. When I was in Fort McMurray a while back, I attended a church, and right on the back wall, it was a sign over the door. When you go through that door, you are now entering the mission field. We don't have to wait till we go to Africa or Malawi or China or any of these places. But folks, listen, there's a work to be done in our neighborhood, in our communities, and there's people who need Jesus. Many people and churches talk about the Great Commission, but how many are really doing the Great Commission? Folks, the world is changing exponentially, isn't it? How many of you believe that the world is changing fast? I mean, my grandfather didn't even ever talk of ISIS. I mean, I did something last week I've never done in my life. I got a check, and when I walked into the guy at the bank there said, do you realize you can scan your check into your account? I said, what? Oh, yeah, you can do it. So I had a check back in my office. So I went back in the office, got online, set it up. 30 seconds after that, I went into my account, and there was a check I just deposited. My poor old grandfather would turn over in his grave. For one thing, he wouldn't trust to do it, but anyway. Things are changing so fast. It's moving further and further away from what it really needs. That's God, truth, forgiveness, purpose, hope. And it's moving away from redemption. But for the people in and of this world to find what they need, those who have it must take it with them wherever they go. Because, folks, it's like I heard a pastor when I was in Fort Mac preach. He said, look, there was a time when if we would announce an evangelistic crusade, we get our churches filled with people. Or if we're going to announce to have a special musical event, we would fill our church. But the only way you can do that now is if you announce evangelists, people don't usually turn up. That's true, I've seen it. And if you announce a musical event, unless you bring in a top artist, sometimes people won't come. But let me tell you something. I'd be very, very happy to spend the night to come to listen to this group because I appreciate it. But let me tell you something. Things have changed. Things have changed so much. A world that is going through revolutionary changes can't be reached, convinced, or awakened by a church that remains the same. Hear what I just said. Folks, sometimes the changes that are coming about in our church sometimes may not be very welcome. But let me tell you something. If we are to become relevant, if we are to reach people in this world, we got to get down to where they are. We got to do some of the things they do. We don't have to participate in, and I'm not talking about diminishing the truth, the scriptures, these things, but sometimes some of our methods have had to change, and they still got to continue to change if we're to reach people. To wake up the world going through revolutionary changes, we require a church that has seen revolutionary changes itself. And let me tell you something. I've seen it there this morning. I've listened to music, good music. That's one change that, that has created a lot of controversy. But it's so good to see that, we've seen this change. Folks, churches, I've studied up on churches, especially in the U.S. and North America. There's a lot of churches that are trying a lot of things, and some of the things are working for growth. I mean, churches with coffee houses. Churches that will do home groups. Church that will do cell groups. Church that have changed their music, like we've seen some of the music here this morning. I like, Pastor, sir, your blend. Your blend of the old and the new. And that's great. What did Jesus do? We're talking about a revolutionary message. How did Jesus do it? When Jesus went into town, did he go to the most popular church in town? No. He did the weirdest thing that if we would ever consider Jesus religious, which he wasn't, but if we would ever consider him religious, I mean, can you imagine going into the community and not going to the church, but going down to the house of Matthew, the biggest scoundrel in town, right? Well, what did he do? He went there and he changed Matthew's life. What did he do when he was walking through town and Zacchaeus was up in the tree? And by now, there were all the Pharisees and all these guys were watching Jesus to see what he would do. Jesus said, "Hey, Zach, I'm going to your house for tea." People were very critical of that, but it was a religious world. It was critical. What about the woman caught in the act of adultery? The people that looked on couldn't understand at all what Jesus was doing. It was against everything that was traditional. It was against the law of the day. It was against the church law of the day. But what did Jesus do? Jesus went to where she was. He reached down and he touched her. And folks, that's how we're going to reach people today. So what do? Do we listen to the people around that say, no, we shouldn't do this, and we shouldn't go where these people are, or we shouldn't associate with this one, or we shouldn't do that? Or do we take Jesus' example? Jesus went to where the undesirables were. And you know something? There's people all over the world today that are doing ministry for the Gideons, that are going to places where probably the undesirables are. And they're reaching down to the lowest of the low. Folks, today we have a cause. The Gideons have a cause, and the cause is to take scriptures and to meet people one-on-one where they are and to give them the gospel. To tell them about Jesus, to pray with them and tell them that Jesus is the answer. But how do we do that? The only way that we can do that is do what I'm doing today. And do what we're doing from time to time through our membership, through fundraising, through events, through different things that we got to do to raise Bibles, and we usually use the benchmark of $3. We'll put a Bible into our scripture into somebody's hand. Folks, let me tell you something. There's a lot of causes today, and they're good. Youth will live on less in order to produce money for wells in Africa. People will boycott products that are made in these countries because they use child labor. That's the cause. Every year we see the Janeway Telethon, and what happens in this? You see kids that catch the vision for sick children, and they give her the time and the resources for the telethon. It's a cause, and a good cause. We got a young girl by the name of Monica Snow at New Life in Clarenville, 14 years old. She's been just appointed as an ambassador for Canada for World Vision, a youth ambassador. And why is it? As a young kid, she got the vision for needs. About 2 weeks ago, she decided to do a fundraiser at the community center to free children from child trafficking. She raised $1,100. A little 14-year-old girl. This money was donated on the mobile health clinic to Kenya as an extension at the Baraka Health Center. In a few weeks' time, they will be doing a run for the 6K Walk for Water. Folks, the point that I'm making is, we're not asking for money to build new churches or to do all of these things which are good. But when we do what we're doing, we're asking for money that's going to put Bibles into people's hands, that's going to give them the gospel. The Gideons have identified several ways to make Christ known and are providing the resources to do so. And I'll just go on through a few to let you know where your dollars are going. They're distributing God's word in schools, hotels, and institutions, and doing it, and have been doing it for over 100 years. They're doing ministry in prisons with the Redemption magazine. I've set a table up outside, and practically most of our materials that we use are out there if you want to have a look. We provide the Oak magazine for institutions. You see the Light magazines that your pastors had come in for the seasonal Christmas and Easter. For you guys that got kids that go to YC, each year you're Ashley Bonnell talk about Send Me. That's a tremendous program in itself. And it's the future, I believe. I believe it's the future of the Gideon ministry, is getting our youth involved at a very young age. Gideon expression cards, and you're going to hear more about that from Stephanie. I was hoping that Stephanie would be here this morning, but she didn't make it. She's one of our Gideons. Mark in the back is one of the Gideons in this area, of course, Ross. And we're happy to have Crystal Leroy with us this morning that could join us for this meeting. And she's also involved with the Gideons in this area. So for those of you that have heard that, well, the Gideons is something we do when we retire. It's a whole man's club. Well, that's changed. It's not always not an old man's club. Yeah, we got old men like myself there, I know, but we've also got some young ones, which is fantastic. And also women can become full-fledged Gideons now. So it's not the old man's club anymore, okay? Then, of course, we've got the New Life app. And some places across Canada, they don't allow us into schools anymore. So right now, we got the New Life app, and you can download on your Bibles, and that's being downloaded all over the world. I think it's in 86 countries across the world now. And that's another great tool to get the gospel out. And of course, we're talking about church partnership. And as a result of church partnership, we've seen 1.746 million scriptures distributed last year in and we touched 181 nations since 2011. Last year, there were 20,000 scriptures in Colombia, 10,000 responses, with 750 volunteers. In Nicaragua, there were 26,000 scriptures. In Africa, 110,000 scriptures. In Pakistan, 5,000, with 60 Canadians doing these ministries. One-on-one street ministry, and they're also then connected with a church. This is where the difference is. We don't just go somewhere and drop off 10,000 Bibles. When we go, we connect with a church like this church and other churches in the cities, and then we take teams from these churches, train them, and then we do street ministry. Street ministry could mean one-on-one in the streets. We go to prisons, we go to institutions, we go to the police stations, and that's how we reach people. Then, of course, we got what we call a tip program. And in Quebec, just listen to this, in Quebec last year, and the tip program is where churches join in, and we provide the scriptures and do the training, and then they go out into the community to reach people. In Quebec last year, they did 9 programs, and they saw 500 first-time commitments to Jesus in Quebec. So is Cornerbrook any different? No different. No different. Of course, the Global Church Partnership Program is a part of that. You've been a part of that. So the money you've sown has been good seed sown in good ground. What are the distinctives of the Gideons? First of all, it's a gospel-centered ministry. The only objective that the Gideons got is to put scriptures into people's hands and to give them the Word of God. Okay? The other distinctive, it mobilizes believers. In other words, that's one of the things that I'm doing this morning. Along with we're going to churches, and we help churches with evangelistic outreach programs. Of course, then there's local and global partnerships, and you're already a part of the local and the global church partnership. Folks, the gospel can only go forth in one way. What is it? People. There's only one way to share the gospel. It's people. People like you and me. The Gideons transcend denominational barriers and work with churches of all faiths who show an interest in reaching their community. Because of these partnerships, thousands have been brought to Christ. Millions are receiving the Word of God for the first time. And as a result, Jesus continues to build His church. And are you glad you're a part of that, folks? You got to be glad you're a part of it. So today, each person here is given the opportunity to become a part of this ministry. Now you say, where's he going? I'm not going to take you too far. You have already become a part of this ministry by becoming a global church partner, because without you folks, there'd be no funds for the $100 a month. So thank you. Thank the ministry team for that. But there's other ways you can become a part of this ministry, because that's just one aspect. One is you can become a member. And thank you that we've got, I think it's two or three from this church that are already member of the Gideons. And we were in there yesterday to do some training and so on with the chapter. And we're going to be spending more time in this area to help your group. The other way is to support us financially, which you've done. Okay? And probably the most important thing is, folks, it's not by might nor by power, by my Spirit. Pray for us. That's the most important thing I think that you can do, because none of us finds this easy. Okay, none of us finds it easy. I left on a Saturday morning after working all week, yesterday morning, 6:15. Drove across the province from Clarenville, and ate it back to this afternoon. You know one of the reasons why I do it? Because I love what I'm doing. I got a passion for it. And I realize that what I see down there sometimes is tiredness and fatigueness. But one of these days, I believe that when I get home, I'm going to come across somebody who said, as a result of what you guys did in Corner Brook, you went over and did the Global Church Partnership Program with Pastor John, and the church joined in. Because you see, we've got a long time in heaven to find out these things, haven't we? Huh? We got a long time. It could be 500,000 years from now before I really meet some of the people, but we will meet them. We will know. We will know. And every little thing that we do is recorded, and God got an account of it. So Pastor John, Pastor Cyril, really appreciate you guys. And we really appreciate that you saw the vision to bring on this church as a partner. And I thank you so much. And I look forward to getting back again sometime. So now we're going to play a short video for you by 3 minutes. And after that, I think Pastor John has said we're going to raise an offering. Now, I want to make this clear. No pressure. We didn't come here specifically to raise an offering because you guys are already partners in this church. However, if anybody feels like you'd like to give a bit extra to see more Bibles go into people's hands, and you want to become a personal part of this ministry, do so. Also, if you would like to get involved in any other way, we'd love to talk to you on the way out. Okay? And if I can find my card, I'm going to lay it on the table, my business card. If not, Mark is around, and Stephanie is around, Crystal's around, and Ross is around. Don Carter is in Pasadena, and he's in Florida now. But we'll be there to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much, and God bless.